So today we are at July 17th, 2025, and this is Raymond Richard Neutra interviewing Suzanne Sokol Narducci.
Right.
And uh, Suzanne grew up on one of the first Neutra designed houses in the Neutra colony in the Silver Lake district, and we're going to talk about her parents and how it came that they commissioned that house. So tell us about your folks, Suzanne.
Okay, my father was an attorney, and he was at first, he was a labor lawyer. He was a criminal lawyer and then a labor lawyer. And my mother was very much into the arts. And my father was quite a rabble rouser. And I think it was my father's idea to build. I was, well, when we moved in the house, I think I was 6 years old. But we had lived in the area before. And then my father decided he wanted to build. And I don't remember why he picked Neutra, but they were very much into mid-century modern concepts and ideas, and they were very forward thinking. We would have, my mother was one of the founders of sane nuclear testing with Steve Allen. And so they were always into the causes. And I do remember we had a Save the Rosenberg events at the house with the LA String Quartet playing. We had a beautiful Steinway grand piano in the living room. And so there were many functions, fundraisers in the house, but they were very forward-thinking activists. And there were, at that point, two children. My older brother, who's 4 years older, he died a few years ago, and myself. So there were two children.
And so he was 4 years older than you. So what, by the time, let's say you were 8, he was 12. Did you play together a lot, or was he sort of the boy thing and you a girl thing? And
So we didn't play. I was a thorn in his side. I would, he would take money and put it on the counter of his room, and I would steal it and buy ice cream when the good humor man came around for everybody in the neighborhood and him. And he thought it was so nice till they found out it was his money. but, but I also, by the time I became about 8 or 9, I was going to boarding school. So I would go to boarding school in the weekdays and come home on the weekends.
What school did you go to?
Monticello School for Girls. It was on 3rd and Normandy in Los Angeles.
How interesting. I went to boarding school too. I went to the Chadwick School.
So did my brother.
Really?
He went to the Chadwick School. He went to Black Fox, was kicked out of there, and went to Chadwick.
Uh-huh.
His name is Steve Sokol. Steve Sokol.
When was he born?
He was born in 38.
Yeah, so he would have been just a year ahead of me. I have to look at my yearbooks and see whether I see a Sokol there. I was there from 3rd grade to 6th grade, and then I
really got kicked out of there also and went to John Marshall. He probably graduated from Marshall High School.
Yeah, and I went to
Santa Monica.
I went to Thomas Starr King for a couple of years, and then was sent up to Ojai to the Happy Valley School.
Oh my God, wait a minute. So my brother went to Thomas Starr King, and I was going to Monticello School for Girls, and it closed. And so my mother said, now you're going to go to the Happy Valley School. And I went up there, and I said, no, I'm not going to private school anymore. I don't want to go to public school. And so I ended up going to Lincoln Junior High School in Santa Monica, because a little bit more of the story is we always had a house in Malibu. And we moved permanently to Malibu in the early 50s.
So you must not have lived in the Silver Lake house for very long then, maybe.
Well, my younger brother was born there,
Uh-huh.
and we didn't move till he was about 4. We moved in the 50s. It probably took a couple years to build. I think we moved in 48.
That sounds about right.
And but we always had a house in Malibu, and then we did move. I don't know the date we moved, maybe 55. We moved to Malibu full time.
Uh-huh. So, um, can you tell me more things about family life in the house?
We had it was a very interesting house. I remember my father and Mr. Neutra would get in fights all the time, which probably is traditional with architects I have built, so I understand that. And the architect was usually right, but we did fight. So my father and he would have these interesting discussions or arguments. But we loved living there. I remember my brother and I would ride the dumbwaiter. There's a dumbwaiter between the kitchen and the upstairs patio. And we would take turns riding in it and pull each other up the dumbwaiter,
Uh-huh.
upper patio. And my father loved barbecuing up there. And I remember in about 1948, early 50s, it snowed in Los Angeles. And I have pictures of my father shoveling snow off that upper deck.
Oh, if you have those, I'd love to get a digital copy of it.
We had a fire and I lost a great deal in the fire, but I might have somehow been able to save that.
Yeah, you
But
got caught in those big PG&E fires, did you? Yeah.
yeah, but it was a great house. I remember Mr. Neutra telling us that the kids' rooms were going to be like being on a ship. And outside on the deck, he even tied ropes like you might see on a ship deck.
Uh-huh.
And that was the railings. Who knows if they'd be legal today, but they were ropes. And it was very much, we thought we were up in a tree house or on a ship outside our bedroom.
Did you have your own decks then?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Now, did you know the Treeweeks across the street and get to go swimming in their pool and
We did a few times, yes.
uh-huh.
We did know the Treewicks, and they'd come to our parties and we would go there. And I remember, and I carried with me when I actually built, I remember we had cork floors going upstairs.
Right.
And the cork always had a smoky smell.
Uh-huh.
And when I built one of my homes now, my architect wanted to do cork floors. I said, no, they smell too smoky. He said, not anymore.
Uh-huh. That's
And
interesting.
I remember distinctly, and I can see it now, the flagstone wall that extended from the patio clear in through the dining room into the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
And we had a yellow Naugahyde banquette in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's still there. I think the people we sold it to, the Chinese, I've driven by there, and the Van Keppel green furniture was still there. I think we sold all the furniture with the house because Mr. Neutra had picked all the furniture.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
My mother didn't get to do too much of that. He picked, the Eames chairs and so I wonder how much is there, that.
Interesting. I wonder whether it's the same family. I don't know. They don't engage very much.
No, I drove by there one day with my husband, and the girl was walking outside, and I stopped and I said, my family built this house. I would love to see it. And she totally ignored it.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't get to see it inside.
Yeah.
We did have a couple who lived with us down in the guest house, which is over on the side down below. It was a lovely guest house. And they were the Humphreys, and she would took care of us for many years when we were young. And he was the chauffeur for the Secretary of the Navy, who was gone a lot, but he was his chauffeur, not ours. But
Uh-huh.
once he'd drive me to school or something.
Uh-huh. Now, how come you were sent off to boarding school?
My parents were very much into intellectual pursuits and they wanted good education. I remember when my father went to nursery school with me the first time, he said, "You can't go here."
Uh-huh.
Like this wasn't going to be intellectual enough or something. So they wanted us all to have a great education.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's why.
Um, so what did you go on and do in your life then?
I went to the University of California, Berkeley as a math major, and I went into the computer industry in the early 60s. So when I graduated from Cal, I went with IBM, and then my career, I went with all kinds of startups and spent my life in tech.
How interesting. That's kind of unusual for our generation for women to go into math.
Yeah, it
Uh-huh.
was the easiest thing for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And so now you live up in Napa.
I do.
Now isn't there a Narducci winery or something up there?
Well, that's Carducci or
Parducci.
Carducci, and there's a Bonducci, I think. No Narducci.
Uh-huh. Okay. So did you just retire up to Napa or have you lived there a long time? Yeah. Uh-huh.
No. And we built our first home and lived there 11 years, and then we sold that, and we were remodeling a house and renting, and both houses burned on the same night in 2017.
Wow.
So a little bit fortuitously, now we got to build our own home. We weren't remodeling and making compromises.
Uh-huh.
And I took a lot of what I remembered growing up in that house. I think I was very interested in that Silver Lake house. That was a memorable house to me. That and my house in the Malibu colony where we moved, um, for different reasons. But architecturally, that Neutra house, where he combined stone and the wood and different materials and simplicity, not, it didn't goop up things, really made an impact on me.
Interesting. Great. Anything else that we should add to
Well,
this?
there were three ponds, and I saw in your pictures, you can't see it here, but there were three ponds in the middle as you entered the house. And there was a sculpture there. And that's about the only thing left of my family because so many things burned that I still have that sculpture
Uh-huh.
that used to sit in the middle of the ponds.
Oh, that's nice. Great. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me and telling me about these memories.